Tucked away in a far western corner of Europe is Nazaré, a quiet Portuguese fishing town. Steeped in tradition, its rough seas and huge waves provoke awe and fear in equal measure. Just off this coastline is the Nazare Canyon. It's the deepest underwater valley in Europe. At some points it goes down 5 kilometres. And when the energy of the Atlantic Ocean, unbroken for thousands of miles, hits this deep hole at the most westerly point on the continent, it forces up some of the biggest surfing waves in the world. Over the past decade, this town has seen an extraordinary transformation. Extreme surfers and fans of this high adrenaline sport flock to the cliffs from all over the world. This is the Nazare Tow Surfing Challenge, held in February last year. Due to the uncertainty of exactly which days the biggest waves will arrive, competitors are only given a few days' notice. Called when the waves are up their biggest, they can be as high as a 10-storey building. It's only when you're standing here and you can see for yourself just how massive these waves are that you realise how insane the people must be who choose to crest right on the top of them. Amongst those competing, the man who holds the world record for cresting the biggest wave ever, a towering 80 feet.
This is a Formula One of surf. I think here we dance with God.
The waves of Nazaré are so dangerous that they work in teams. One on the surfboard and the other on a jet ski to act as a wave spotter, taxi service and lifeguard in case there's an accident. The British duo have just finished their first heat, safely back on dry land after a punishing hour being pummeled by the waves. When you're actually in the water, what does that wave look like coming towards you?
It's like moving mountains, I suppose. Yeah, it's intimidating, but when you get in the zone and you're in the spot and you actually do get another wave, like, you know, it gives you, definitely want more.
In November 2017, Andrew was competing at Nazaré against some enormous waves. It became obvious he was in serious trouble. He was catapulted out of the waves. The force of the fall broke his back. But even this doesn't seem to have dimmed his enthusiasm for this sport.
It's just injuries. Injuries happen, you know. It's just like...
It's a draw to the sport. For me, speaking, like, I can't find that much happiness elsewhere.
It's passion, you know. Like, I just love surfing and I love big waves.
First impressions don't do justice to the huge waves generated just a short way offshore. Surfing legend Garrett McNamara comes from Hawaii, but his endorsement turned Nazaré into one of the top destinations.
Nazaré definitely helped skyrocket my career. Felt like I found the Holy Grail. I felt like I found what I've been looking for the last 10 years.
Previous world record holder of the highest wave ever, Garrett had never heard of Nazaré until he was invited there in 2005.
For big waves, it's the biggest wave in the world. When you're riding a wave out there, it's a sensational overload of just the most amazing feeling ever.
The prosperity resulting from Nazaré's new surfing status has rippled through this community. There's been a year-round surge in the number of tourists using shops, stalls and restaurants.
Right now, every part of the world came from Nazaré to watch the waves. The waves bring happiness for everybody in the town. There's a small business for big business. Everybody grow with the wave.
But it really has transformed and changed your economy.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And I think it's changed everybody's life in the town.
When the biggest waves come, would you ever think about going to try and surf them?
It's crazy over there.
So just for the professionals?
In my opinion, yes.
The danger is ever present. During my visit, surfer Alex Botello was thrown from his jet ski and knocked unconscious. Thanks to the speed of modern-day rescue methods, he survived, But over the centuries, many haven't been so lucky. Numerous lives lost to the ocean. People have traditionally warned their children to stay away from the water. Historically a fishing town, there is barely a family in Nazaré who hasn't been touched by the cruel power of the sea. Emilio Vigia met me on the very beach where a freak wave swept ashore, killing his grandfather in 1951.
Viu ali para a Praça dos Oliveira, onde é que se mete numa farmácia, abrigado da onda. Entretanto, como a praça tinha muitos barcos, o mar deu nos barcos, os barcos começaram a andar para um lado e para o outro, entretanto um barco vai contra a parede, esborrachou, esmigalhou-lhe logo a cabeça, morreu logo. Havia muita gente que morreu no mar.
When you see the surfers on the North Beach riding those huge waves, what do you think?
Mas é a vida deles, com certeza. Nem qualquer pessoa faz aquilo. Aquilo é gente ou com muita prática, ou é gente que não tem o juízo todo. Pois, mas aquilo é muito perigoso.
Market stalls selling dried fish are still a familiar sight on the seafront. Even the oldest traders told me they're prepared to embrace change. As I climbed above the town on the funicular railway, it became clear that the transition from fishing hamlet to surfing mecca needed to be carefully handled if its character's going to be preserved.
Well, it made pretty much a very big revolution in the village. Now we can say that the development program of the Council of Nazaré is based on a gigantic wave. We passed from 3 months of tourism to 10 to 11 months of tourism.
Do you worry that when you're attracting so many people to a relatively small village, that perhaps you'll lose the character that's so important?
My preoccupation is to maintain our character, our traditions, our fishermen. All of that is what we want to maintain. We got to find a limit for all that we want to allow over here.
This community knows the waves will always be here, but not everything is so certain. The organisers of the surfing competition have said that no crowds are allowed this year, another casualty of the COVID pandemic. But there's every reason to believe the surfers will be back, drawn by the extraordinary energy of the ocean at this specific spot on Europe's coastline.